Good evening. 2 people have died in what the Metropolitan Police are describing as a terrorist incident on London Bridge. The attacker was later shot dead. Several members of the public managed to wrestle him to the ground, and their bravery has been widely praised. Police say the attack started here in Fishmongers Hall at the northern end of the bridge. Now, the alarm was raised just before 2 p.m. this afternoon. The attacker then appears to have moved onto the bridge, where he was tackled and disarmed amid some chaotic scenes. Police then arrive at 2, that's 5 minutes after the first emergency call. Armed officers then fired 2 shots, killing the suspect, fearing he was wearing an explosives vest. Well, the Prime Minister, who's chairing a Cobra meeting in Downing Street right now, said earlier that any accomplices to the attack will be hunted down and brought to justice. While the Mayor of London, Sadiq Khan, praised what he called the breathtaking heroism shown by members.
Well, I'm standing by a river, but the water doesn't flow. It boils with every poison.
Daniel Sanford is at the scene live for us tonight. Daniel.
And I'm underneath the streetlight, but the light of joy I know.
Terrorist attack which killed,
scared beyond belief,
it involved
way down
knives
in
and a
the
fake
shadow.
bomb. And once again, police had to kill.
And the perverted fear of violence chokes the smile on every face. And common sense is ringing out the bell. This ain't no technological breakdown. Oh no, this is the road to hell.
I think the message that we send to them and anyone associated with this type of attack is one that will be familiar, and that is that this country will never be cowed or divided or intimidated by this sort of attack, and our values, our British values, will prevail.
And all the roads jam up with credit, and there's nothing you can do. It's all just bits of paper flying away from you. Oh, look how we'll take a good look what goes down here. You must learn this lesson fast and learn it well. This ain't no upwardly mobile freeway. Oh no, this is the road. So this is the road. This is the road to hell.
Oh my God.
This, of course, bringing back terrible memories of that other attack just 18 months ago on the bridge.
That's right. It was just 2.5 years ago the London Bridge attack took place just a few hundred yards from here, and that in the same year as the horrors of the Manchester Arena, the Westminster Bridge attack and the Finsbury Park attack. And overshadowing the whole thing tonight is the fact that this suspect is a former prisoner convicted of a terrorism offence, still serving his licence period after having been released from prison. And so now questions are already being asked about how we deal with the former prisoners, not least of all by the Prime Minister himself.
I have one question today. What was he doing out? What was that guy?
Usman Khan.
What was he doing roaming our streets? A convicted terrorist. Somebody who plotted with his Al-Qaeda mates to form a terror training camp, to bomb the stock exchange, to kill Boris Johnson. These people were Al-Qaeda terrorists, and we let them back into the streets after 8 years. because we've gone weak in this country.
Rehabilitation can and must work, because otherwise you would keep offenders in prison forever.
But you know what?
And
some people,
if you keep some offenders in prison for too long, it can actually increase the chance
I hear
that they're going to
Suzanne,
reoffend.
I hear all this.
So we have to...
I hear all this.
We have to
I hear all
I
this
think
about...
we do have to be quite considerate
Listen,
and quite careful.
These were terrorists,
Yes.
right? These are not just regular criminals. These are jihadis. These are people who've been brainwashed to be mass murderers.
Listen, these are terrorist murderers, and what are you lot on the panel thinking about? They're terrorists. They're gonna always be terrorists. Somebody needs to be held accountable. Let me tell you, he did it, and you tried rehabilitating him. What about the 74 that are running wild out there at the moment? They should have been rounded up on Friday. Your country's a disgrace.
Can I ask you, Evie, you know all the details about all of those cases of those people that you just said are running wild?
They're terrorists. They've been made terrorists. They wouldn't have been made terrorists. They weren't bakers, butchers, or anything else. These people are involved in terrorism.
This is what Boris Johnson has unleashed.
No, it's not. Hang on,
This is what Boris Johnson has unleashed. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Yes, it is.
It's not just Boris Johnson.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is, Jeremy.
And we woke up this morning, came in. There's just an unbelievable amount of people tweeting us, emailing us, texting us to express their fury.
We're going to start with Edward here on the phones from London, who says people won't feel protected if terrorists are let out.
So you're not happy with the situation, Edward, then?
Oh, do me a favour, Jeremy. We've been having all this nonsense for goddamn years. Let's talk about our London mayor. He should be called a nightmare, because that's what London is. He's a nightmare. He used to defend these terrorists. He was a lawyer, wasn't he? Was he a lawyer?
Was he
What's going on?
Sadiq Khan?
I can't let my kids go into London, and they're teenagers, because of the fear I have.
Well, so
Now-
what do you hang on. What do you do, Edward? You've got someone in front of
Bang
you
'em
with
up for life.
But it comes after the PM's been criticised for politicising the London Bridge attack by a victim's father.
Where most of us were watching this and seeing a tragedy unfolding, Boris Johnson saw an opportunity, and he immediately said, "Oh, this is Labour's fault. They allowed this to happen. They had this early release policy and so on." There was no reference to us. There was no attempt to contact us and discuss this with us. It just struck me as being crass and insensitive.
I'm not interested in politics. I'm not interested in
politics.
politicians. I'm interested in terrorism. People that are going to blow people up. Listen, if they came to your house and blowed you up, you wouldn't be sat in the panel talking the way you're talking.
Because I'd be dead. But
No,
let me
you
just say
won't.
to you,
Listen,
right?
help the rest of the people out in this country.
Jeremy, this is what you've done.
Okay, all right,
What you've
all
done
right,
with this
Abby,
debate.
well, just calm it down, Carol.
Can I just say, we mustn't, Abby's a bit excited, I know that, but we mustn't sneer at people.
I'm not sneering at it, I'm sneering at this debate.
And
you're part of it, Carol.
Let me make a point. You mustn't sneer at people on the streets because of their fear. The first guy said he was terrified to let his kids go out on the street.
Right, is that
at
fear
night-time.
real?
Of course it's real. Look
Is
at
that-
knife crime in
Right,
London.
so all of
Yes,
these
it's
people
real.
walking around London now, are we all terrified to walk around London? Are you terrified leaving this studio? No.
Well, because it's
you're
not night. I would be terrified to walk around London
So it's being exploited.
at night. It's not being.
You either
it's a
deal
fact
with
of
problems
life.
or you exploit.
Okay, all right.
Johnson is exploiting.
Hang on.
Because, of course, every small thing can change people's minds right up until they go into the voting booth tomorrow. Anything can change your mind. There's still a lot of undecided voters out there.
Yeah, there certainly are. Ranveer, thank you very much indeed. Now we've got Swaney down there with Boris, I think.
We have.
Is he there? Swaney?
Yes, we have.
What's going on?
Yes, I'm here. Hello, good morning, Piers.
There he is. What's going on?
Yes, well, the Prime Minister just arrived in the last few seconds. You can see he's just gone inside with the owners of this local dairy here. He's kind of being briefed really as to how he should put on a coat, what he should be doing. He'll be handing out some bottles of milk and loading up one of the milk vans here very shortly. There's a gathered sort of collection of sort of press that have been invited here. This is how it kind of works generally with the election that perhaps most people don't know about. There tends to be accredited media for all the main party leaders, so therefore you can't just sort of turn up like we have this morning and try and get interview with the Prime Minister. But he's the last day of the campaign, and he's refused to come on our programme so far.
Swaney, shout at him. Say, come on, Good Morning Britain, Prime Minister, if you get the chance. Give him the full barrels.
No, absolutely, Piers. That is the plan. So we are here. We've come out of hidden out of the car. You can see here he is. Here's Boris now. One sec. Here we go. Morning, Prime Minister. Will you come on Good Morning Britain, Prime Minister? I've just had a reaction here from one of the minders. Okay, thanks, push. Thanks very much.
On his face.
Wow.
That minder.
You're not getting near Boris. Look at
Prime
that.
Minister, will you come on Good Morning Britain and deliver on your promise to talk to Piers and Susanna? You ready to go?
And the perverted fear of violence chokes the smile on every face. And common sense is ringing out the bell.
Interview him.
On ITV this morning.
This ain't no technological breakdown.
The Prime Minister's welcome to come.
Oh no, this is the road to hell.
Prime Minister, will you deliver on your promise to come on Good Morning Britain?
Of course I will.
Thank you very much. Will you do that this morning for us?
Is that right now? Is that going to fall off?
Right. No, I'm with it. I'm with it.
Prime Minister, will you do that now for us? Well, Piers and Susanna, I am trying for you. I'm also being pushed and shoved as well, as you can imagine.
Love it.
By the minders. So I'm still here.
This is brilliant. I think you should stay with us. This is fantastic.
There is a look, Piers, there is a look of panic on people's faces. Let's hear what the Prime Minister has to say now. I'm looking quite around. Let's see what he has to say.
And all the roads jam up with credit, and there's nothing you can do.
Panic going on here.
That's all just bits of paper flying away from you. Oh, look how we'll take a good look. What goes down here?
I'll be with you in a second.
You must learn this lesson fast and learn it well.
Right, he's been taken inside, into the freezer.
He's gone into the fridge.
There's a bunker.
Swaney, heroic work, mate.
So far, isn't it?
That was heroic work. What was the minder
door
saying
has
to
been
you?
closed.
The minder was like
closed.
effing and blinding, wasn't it?
Well, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that came as a bit of a surprise, I have to say, when we popped out of our car and asked the Prime Minister those questions. Look, where are we here? There's lots of empty bottles here this morning. I think he's lost his bottle. He won't come on Good Morning Britain, but you never know. I did ask him. He said yes in a very Boris fashion.
In a second.
Maybe he's in there having a conversation with his media minders, and he will come out and have a conversation. After all, he's done lots of interviews over the past
We're just going to watch,
few weeks.
Swaney, we're just going to watch
He's answered lots of questions.
We're just going to watch the incident with the minder again, because it really was quite extraordinary.
That was thuggish behaviour.
Yeah.
But what's fantastic is you have exposed how they are running their campaign.
Yeah.
Because normally what they want is only viewers to see the clip of him delivering milk with Get Brexit done on the crate. But you showed the whole operation, how it's constructed, it's confected, and people like him are stopping legitimate questions to
and
the
doing
Prime
so
Minister.
very aggressively. And when you find out it's the press secretary that's orchestrating it and abusing our journalist, who's only asking Boris Johnson to keep his word.
But it goes on all the time on both sides.
No.
Yes, it does.
It's been of a different...
Yes,
what we did, but the difference is, Andrew, we don't see it on camera like that.
It's a different level.
And when you see it laid bare on camera, you realise just what they're doing behind the scenes.
Everything is not always the same. There is a new authoritarianism around, and you saw that. You see the scowl on Oxford's face.
Horrible.
That a question. A journalist was daring to ask a question in
a perfectly respectful way, by the way.
Yes.
And Andrew, I totally agree it goes on with the other parties, but we've just seen it with our own journalist, Jonathan Slane, a very professional top bloke, right, getting treated like a piece of dirt. For daring to ask the Prime Minister, is he going to keep his word in the next hour and a half, which is the last window he's got.
silly to do
Keep
when
his
the
word, to
cameras
talk
are
to
on.
our viewers before the
It's
election.
all about accountability, and it's been a different level by the Conservatives in this campaign. For instance, I think it should be on the record who from the Tories told reporters outside Leeds Hospital
that there'd been an incident. I agree.
That Matt
somebody had been
Hancock's
punched.
special advisor had been assaulted.
That was
People have devastated our country. I point my hand that you walked into it.
After this embarrassing thing with the pocket, they obviously thought, we've got to distract everyone's attention. So you have them announcing the BBC, we'll talk about it later, BBC may lose the licence fee, sending Matt Hancock up, having this story about someone being punched when they weren't. It's like, what's going on? It's like a magic trick where they're creating a series of distractions.
The really worrying thing to me is this explosion of fake news.
Yeah.
This situation around this boy up in Leeds, where the Yorkshire Evening Post thoroughly investigated it. It's all completely true story. They get an apology from the hospital, the health secretary. There's no doubt about the veracity of this. The Mirror put it on its front page as well. And then this fake Facebook post is put up. It's completely fictitious. My friend's a nurse there. Here's the real story. And it's done deliberately to muddy the waters and to make us think, oh, it's not what it seemed. And the victims of that, again, are the family who were the original victims.
Yeah, but
so we now get accused of being liars.
and you're absolutely right, they are victims. But all voters are victims.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because what on earth do we trust?
Yeah.
Well, let's be honest. It doesn't help having a Tory leader who is a pathological liar. It doesn't help the Conservative doctoring videos, including your interview with Keir Starmer.
Okay, but let me just...
Oh, look how we'll take a good look what goes down here. You must learn this lesson fast and learn it well. This ain't no upwardly mobile freeway. Oh no, this is the road. So this is the road. This is the road to hell.
Ken, I'm going to start with you because you actually featured in one of the sort of prominent tweets I saw today saying, is this the moment that Labour realised that actually it's not all a Ken Loach film, that there was such a narrow tunnel vision of what they were trying to achieve and it just didn't reach the country?
Well, I think you're right. A rather patronising remark, but I think you're right in that Labour didn't get its message across. It didn't get it, and it's disastrous because we've now got the biggest existential crisis humanity's faced with climate change, and it's being left to a bunch of free marketeers to sort out.
How did he do it? By keeping it simple. Only he could get Brexit done. It worked. Johnson campaigned using the Trump playbook. He avoided scrutiny of his policies, here by hiding in a fridge. It didn't matter.
Boris Johnson had another thing going for him here, voter fatigue. After 4 major elections in 5 years, Nora, he represented a way to make it all stop.
Tonight's results clearly are extremely disappointing for the Labour Party. Terrorist! And I know that there will be many of our supporters and many of our members who will be heartbroken by what's happened today. But I just say to them that I don't believe that this was a rejection of our policy programme or our manifesto. Clearly, this was the result of a decision many people took on the issue of Brexit. But I do fear for the future of our people. I fear for those who are queuing in the food banks still. I fear for those 4 million children who are living in poverty. I fear for the 135,000 of them, children who are homeless and have no decent roof over their heads. I believe that the younger generation in particular now will be fearful of the future of this planet as a result of the threat of climate change. And for that reason, I say this: there is hope, and there will be hope. There are hopes may have had a setback today, but they are not dashed. And in the words of Joe Hill, now's not the time to mourn, now's the time to organise. And that's exactly what we will now do. We'll listen to the people and the lessons that the results today have taught us, and we will...
Remember, a lie can get round the world before the truth has got its boots on.
Absolutely right.